I have designed many websites and landing pages on this channel, and it would be madness to keep creating them from scratch every time. So now we are going to create a template that we can reuse. This will save us time and efforts so we can design faster. And welcome to the Ready Designer 1 channel. Hey YouTube, and today the design challenge, I'm going to recreate a basic version of Harry Dry landing page that converts in Figma. Here we go, tweet. So what I'm going to do is just recreate a very basic version. You can then just reuse this template and adapt it to the client or the startup. This is my really terrible way of organizing it. And then the magic is Shift A for auto layout. Let's say 40 spacing, bring that there. I'm going to hit the T tool, click, just going to say logo. We're going to use the very safe Interfont. That logo could be pretty big, let's say 24. We're using the 8-point grid system, that'll be 24. Duplicate that. A title, main value proposition. We're going to make that, let's say 40, semi-bold. Duplicate that. We could just say text. We can even number this, right? So 1, 2. We're going to have a frame, just draw a random size for now. In the middle, we'll say let the user visualize it. Number 3. Let's bring that down to 24. Can we put that in the middle? Great. We're going to bring this down to, let's say 24. And we're going to say just regular. I'm going to hit the O. I'm going to say 40. I'm just going to put the name, full name. We're going to make this a lot smaller, so let's say 16. And position and company. Duplicate that. So this is going to be the testimonial text. So this will be, I believe this is number 4, social proof. Testimonial. Okay, so we got the social proof, just command D that, and you got the main CTA. Let's make the logo semi-bold. Let's number that 5. So what we have to do is just combine things. So here we're going to combine these, Shift A, auto layout magic. Should there be spacing? We'll keep it, yeah, let's say 4. We are also going to put this into an auto layout, so Shift A. Now this should probably be bigger, let's say 18. We want these to be in its own auto layout, so Shift A. And if we hit enter on that, we want to make these smaller, 14. Just leave it at that. We have the avatar, so we can just label this avatar. Now we combine that, Shift A, spacing between that, let's say 16. We can call that frame social proof. Okay, so the next one is a button. Shift A, it's got a lot of spacing, and here I'm going to simply go in. I'm going to say 12, 32, 12, 32. Nice and big. We're going to fill that. We're going to go, we're just going to keep it black and white for now. We're not going to think about color. Hit enter, and I'm just going to go white. Sometimes it's nice to make the button a bit more rounded, so I'm going to say 4. So I think that's all good. I'm just going to label this button. I'm going to duplicate that because we're going to probably reuse this later. I'm just going to call this button, but we should probably make that smaller. So let's say 18. Should say medium, semi bold. We can go medium. Here again we go 18, medium. So select all of them, Shift A. The spacing between, let's just say 24. And then what we're going to do is we are going to combine these 3 into an auto layout, Shift A. And the spacing between those, we can say 24 as well. Or we can be a bit more generous, let's say 40. And now what you can quickly do is to see if it's fluid or not, and it's not fluid, so hit enter. And I'm going to say fill container, hit enter again. I'm going to say fill container. Okay, so that goes a bit nuts, so just Command Z. So the main ones we want to make fluid are the text, so we can leave that as is. We're going to go in here, we're going to say fill, we're going to go in here, and we're going to say fill. So probably these we need to make these fill container, so hit enter, say fill, hit enter again. We want them to fill, and we want that also to fill, and we want that to fill as well. Okay, so a bit of tinkering there, but the benefit now is it's nice and fluid. Just looking at that, the logo is outside, so just bring that out, combine these 2 into its own section. So select both, Shift A, and the spacing between that, I'm going to say 40. We're actually going to call this a div, and if I hit enter, we need those to fill container. This one, it's got a fixed height. Let's say the fixed height is around 400. I just want this to go in the middle. So now that is nice and fluid. This is not fluid because this is a frame, but that's fine because we can replace this with an image. And now we can vertically align this if we want. We can go like this. We're going to put this into another auto layout, Shift A. We're going to call this section. Let's put uppercase S. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to get rid of the spacing for now. Get rid of the auto layout because we want to put in a grid. And that grid is going to be a 12 column grid with a margin of 80 and a gutter of 40. Okay, so this div here is going to have to be fixed. Okay, so now what we can do is put this into an auto layout, so Shift A. And then here we want this to fill the container. Now the way we're going to do that is I'm just going to hit the F key just to find another frame. So let's say this one. So this is 1512. Okay. So I'm going to say this is 1512. Hit enter. And hit enter again. They are filling containers. Okay, great. So let's have a think. So this is not lining up, and this is also not lining up. We just get rid of the spacing there. Okay, so here we have to make this 15, 12. So now it's starting to line up. We can even go further where we say we want the div to be 80 on the left, 80 on the right. Okay, so things are starting to line up a lot better. We can even go 80 on the top and the bottom. But we're going to remove that for now. So now I can see it lining up a lot better. And this is within the grid system. So I think that's pretty cool. And just to visualize that, I'm going to put that into white as well. And now you can play with spacing on here. So, well, we don't have to, just keep it like that for now. And then this section, I can fill it with white. Let's quickly make this a darker gray. And then remove the grid just to see what we have created. So we can just reuse this, and I'm gonna go into the div and just hit Command D, drag that, and let me just fill that with white as well. So here we got feature 1, and here we're just gonna have some text. And then sometimes there might be a CTA, but in this case we're going to hide it. Social proof, we're also going to hide that. Kept it very simple, and we have an image of feature. Okay, so what we actually want is for the text to align in the middle. Great. And we got some padding in here, so if I just remove that, because we actually want this to have a, let's say, a fixed height of 400. Great. So same thing here. Just going to get rid of the spacing. We're going to align the text in the middle, but we want to have a fixed height on the image. Let's say 3 features. So all we're going to do really is we're just going to change the layout. We're going to have the image on the left and then have this on the right. Feature 2. Just Command D. Okay, so you've seen this pattern quite a lot. Social proof again, we can Command D. And the way I'm going to do it is we can just put in a bunch of testimonials. I'm going to bring back that social proof, hide that. Also going to delete that. And here we got social proof. Okay, so that's interesting. And I'm going to say, let's say we have about 3, so Command D a couple of times, but I'm just going to remove that. And we can display this differently. So I'm going to go into social proof. I'm going to say we want that to stack. We want it to hug. We also want this frame to hug as well. So I'm just going to delete that. So we want these to go horizontal. I'm going to say hug. And I'm going to say we want that to fill container. So Command D 2 more times, 1, 2. You can see that it's lining up very nicely in the grid system. And if I go back to this one, I can very quickly create this grid style 12 col. Just to very quickly see if that actually works But to do that, I have to bring a frame back and then use the layout grid. And you can see it is lining up perfectly. I think that is pretty sweet. But I'm not sure why this is not hugging, because it should do. Hit enter again. We want that to hug contents. Enter again. Ew, why has it got fixed? We want that to fill. I know that is the avatar. Let's investigate what is causing. Okay, frame 3, fill container, hug contents. Okay, making a bit more sense. Just going into each of these and seeing what is causing it, but now that looks a lot better. And then you can resize. Oh, Command Z. It's not the great way of resizing. So just if I get rid of that there, resize like that, and then we can get the grid back. You can see it doesn't align for some reason. Okay, Command Z. Not sure why the frame went out. Hit enter, 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 enter. So we can see something funny is going on here. And let's try and say fill container. Okay, that's okay. We'll just do that for now. And let's just change these back to 40. So there's a bit of playing around with auto layout. 40. Okay. So if I resize that and then bring back the grid, it should be lining up. Okay, perfect. That's really good. If I do that, it is not fluid. That's fine, because the one I want to be fluid is this, and that is great. I'm going to Command D. We're going to use this FAQ. We hit enter. Just going to collapse these. You can think that they're all going to be FAQs. So here's a nice neat thing. Can rename. And we want social proof to be renamed to, let's just say FAQ for now. And we want that to fill. Okay, so again we got some funny business going on there, but that's fine. So now what we want to do is, let's have 2-column layout. So we're going to have the question 1. We're going to put that semi-bold. I'm going to delete that. And here, I'm just going to put in some lorem ipsum, so command / lorem plugin. And this is going to be 1 paragraph. Let's make that 16 and 24 line height. This one is 18 semi-bold. Okay, great. Probably the answer won't be that long, but and we don't need the avatar anymore. So let's see if we've got way too many frames going on. Could probably get rid of a lot of these things. So delete. Oop, for some reason I got rid of the heading. There we go. Heading. Okay, so I'll delete that one. So now if I go to FAQ and I Command D, you could have it like that. 3 questions. I'll just delete that so you got a variation. I'm just going to say question 2. And I'm going to do this a bit differently, where we got a bit of a masonry layout. So if I command D FAQ again, I want to select these two, Shift A. I want them to vertically stack. Okay, so the spacing between that, let's say 24. Let me delete that one again. And if you bear with me, this is actually going to be a column. If I commanded that and go back to the frame, hit enter, I want those to fill container. Hit enter again, fill container. Great. So the benefit of this is you do get a masonry style layout, because some questions are going to be short and some are going to be long. And they're not always going to be the same amount of lines. Okay, so this is a bit more realistic. And if I can just reframe that. Okay, so I'm going to pretend that there's at least 8 questions. Nice. So I'm going to very quickly just get rid of these. Reframe that. But let's get a heading in there. So I'm going to go here. And I'm going to hit the T. I'm just going to click anywhere. I want it to go above. And we are going to say frequently. We can't see that anywhere. So here I'm going to make sure it stacks. Great. So you can see it down there. We're going to give that a heading of, let's say, 24. Frequently asked questions. And we want that to go on top. We want the frame to extend. And we want this to hug contents. Nice. Now the spacing, 40, okay, that's fine. So we now have our frequently asked questions. So let's reuse some of these pieces. So I'm going to command D this one. I'm going to delete and delete. So now we have 1. Okay, so here we're going to have a bunch of avatars. So command D. Let's say 8 times, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these avatars, I'm going to put them in their own rows. So let's command D again and again. Let's just say we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shift A. We want that to horizontally. This one we actually want it to fill container. Should we make these avatars bigger? We can do that, and we can hit enter. We could say we want those to be, these are a lot bigger, 72, 72. There we go. And we want that whole frame to fill container. But this one, we also have to fill container. So here, when I go into this frame, we want them to say space between. So now it's nicely laying out. Do you want it to lay out that much? We've got quite a lot of gaps. I think that's okay for now. We don't have to. It looks quite a lot, to be fair, so I'm going to delete these ones. and I'm gonna go inside here, Command D. So let's make this a bit different. There we go. This frame, I'm just going to resize that. And then we got a main heading here. So heading, reiterate value. I'm going to make that nice and big. We're going to go semi-bold. We want that to text a line in the middle. Same thing again, I'm just going to go in, Command D that. Let's delete that. I'm just going to bring that frame a lot higher because it's getting in the way. And now let's say 24 regular. So this will be a testimonial text, Command/lorem, paragraph, quite a lot there. So if I play around with that, you could play around with this width. Okay, we could do something like that, but I want it to align in the middle. It's not working, so hit enter again. I want it to align in the middle, and that's still not working. Wonder why. Let's say we hug. Go to social proof, we align that in the middle. There we go. We have a spacing of, should we say 40? Okay, I think that's fine. This one, we have a spacing of 16. That didn't work. 0. Spacing of 16. And let's get the CTA. So copy that. Then within here, we can say Command V. Great. So here we want a spacing of 16 or 24. We want that to align in the middle. Now these ones, I don't think they should be spacing out. I think we should say packed. And should we say 40? Let's say hug. So now that goes in the middle. This is the same. We want it to say packed. Spacing between 40. And we want to say hug. We just go back. I'm going to very quickly get this social proof in here. Command D. Quite a lot going on in there. And go all the way down. So here, I'm just going to delete that one. I'm going to make this one bigger. So let's say 72 by 72. This one also is going to be bigger. Let's say 18. Semi-bold. This one could be 16. Do we want that to align in the middle? We just go here and align in the middle. Great. So now we have that. And then we're going to have different headings. So let's think of which one to reuse. So if we were to Command D, the whole frequently asked question, I'm going to go in and I actually want to delete these. Let's say we delete these columns. We bring in the social proof. Command D. Let's just give that a fix with 1024. We want that to align in the middle. It could be a lot smaller actually. Let's say 768 is like the max width, and then we want to bring in some more text. So Command D that. Customers. Okay, so for now we can just put some lorem ipsum. I'm going to get the plugin again. We're going to generate a paragraph. So that has all gone absolutely crazy. Fill container. We're going to bring that down to 18 regular. 2, 3, 4, 5. Just counting it out. And then all of those can go into an auto layout. So Shift A. We can have a fixed width of 768, sorry. We hit enter. We want to fill container. Great. And now we can just go in to each of these. So hit enter again. I want it to be 24. And then let's just reduce the text. Do we need to label that? We don't need to. We could just hide the heading for now. And now the next thing is to combine everything. And here we're just going to not get the section, we're going to Command D the div. So Command D, bring that over. So cut, paste, align it from the left. Okay, so we're not really doing a nav because we're keeping it super simple. So this one, I'm going to copy, I'm going to paste that. Right, so I'm going to cut that logo. I'm going to bring it inside here, go to the top. We can align this from the top. We can do the spacing. So do we want to be generous? We have 80 all around. Then the next one is the feature. So we're just going to copy the div. So Command C, Command V. Okay, that's pretty cool. Now what we want to do is combine these two into an auto layout. So Shift A. And now I'm just going to Command D, or just copy this. Copy, paste. Now the frame, we just have to make that pretty big. So I'm going to copy a lot of different ones. Okay, now we want the spacing. So here we can say 80 all around, 80 all around, 80 all around. And there's a lot of different ways you can play this out. We have our social proof. We just want to copy the div, paste that as well. I didn't do it correctly. We want to go inside the frame. So you could just call this main tag, for example. Copy that. Okay, this one, let's introduce spacing all around 2 of 80. Now we want the frequently asked questions. Just copy the div into the main. Okay, let's make that even more. We want that to have a spacing of 80 all around. We then have some more social proof. We just want the div, copy that, paste that. Ooh, doesn't do it correctly sometimes. Making sure you're clicking into the main, Command V. And here we want a spacing of 80 all around. The final bit here, the founder's note, Command C. And we just paste that in. Ooh, paste that in. That is right at the end. We're going to say 80 all around. And here we are just going to expand that. Okay, great. I'm going to take the logo out. I'm actually going to just very quickly Command D that, go up and up. I'm going to delete that one. So here I'm just going to cut that, pretend this is the header, delete and delete that. But the spacing, I want this to be a lot more tighter, so let's say 40 on top and bottom. Okay, so the last bit to do is to do the footer, and here what I'm trying to do is just reuse a bunch of stuff. So I actually want to delete some of these because we want to simplify it. Delete that. Okay, so Command D, let's bring that down, and this will be our footer. This would be something like copyright 2022. Command D that again. I want that to fill and hug. We want it to be horizontal. Hug. Hit enter. We want it to fill and hug. Great. This last one, we want it to align to the right. We don't need the copyright to be huge. Let's say 16, regular. This one is going to be like your followed links, right? So let's just say our main one at the moment is Twitter. That'll be 16. That'll be normal. You could even Command D that a couple more times. Okay, so we got like 4 social links. Oh, did that in the wrong place. No, that's fine actually. So Shift A, and if I hit enter, we want those to fill. Okay, that's sweet. We go into this one, we hit enter, we want those to fill container as well. So here we just got the different social links here. We can just start removing some of these numbers. Command dot. So we just created the Harry Dry landing pages that convert. So here we got the hero section, we got the features and objections. So we're saying 3 features and objections. We got some social proof again. We have a frequently asked questions. We have some more social proof. And then at the end we have a founder's note. We have a very own simple nav. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the bell. So in the next video what we're looking to do is to adapt this to an actual startup.